Stop lying to yourself. You aren't burned out. You aren't overwhelmed. And you are definitely not a victim of your circumstances. Here is the brutal, unspoken truth that society is too terrified to tell you. You have a fragility problem. You have become dangerously, incredibly soft. I know you don't want to hear this. As you hear these words, a part of you is already getting defensive. You're already searching for an excuse, a reason why your stress is different, why your anxiety is justified. But that defensiveness, that exact reflex to protect your ego, that is exactly why you are losing. Look at how easily you are defeated. Think about it. A single sideways glance from a coworker, a passive-aggressive email, a minor inconvenience in traffic, or a canceled plan, and your entire emotional state collapses like a house of cards. Your mood is entirely dictated by the weather, the news, and the unpredictable moods of people you don't even respect. You let fools live rent-free in your head. You are hemorrhaging your life force, bleeding out your precious energy to everything you cannot control. Society engineered you to be this way. They sold you on comfort. They told you that you deserve to be safe, that your feelings are paramount, that you should avoid pain at all costs. But the comfort didn't save you. It didn't make you strong. It stripped you of your armor and left you completely exposed to the wind. Now, I want you to shift your perspective. I want you to imagine a man who held absolute, unquestionable power over the entire known world. A man who spent a decade living in freezing mud tents on the Danubian frontier. He faced endless, brutal wars. He watched a plague wipe out millions of his people. He faced high treason and the ultimate betrayal by his most trusted general. He watched his own children die in his arms. He had every excuse to complain. He had every excuse to break, to drink himself into a stupor, to become a paranoid, ruthless tyrant. But when we look into his private, secret diaries, a book never meant for public eyes, which we now call meditations, there is not a single word of self-pity. Not one. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome, understood a terrifying truth about human nature. He realized that weakness is never a physical limitation. It is a psychological choice. You do not feel weak because the world is too heavy. You feel weak because you have handed the keys to your mind over to the outside world. In the next few minutes, we are going to burn down the illusions that keep you fragile. We are going to extract the forbidden, raw psychology of the Roman Empire, and we are going to build an impenetrable fortress inside your mind. We are going to teach you how to separate your soul from your flesh. Welcome to the Citadel.
To understand how to become unbreakable, you must first understand why you break. Right now, your mind operates like a house with no doors and no windows. Anyone can walk in. The angry driver on the highway walks right into your living room and ruins your morning. The toxic boss walks in and dumps his insecurities on your dining table. The panicked news anchor screams in your hallway. You have absolutely no border control. You are a psychological open house. And what's worse, you've been trained to embrace it. We live in a culture that fetishizes victimhood. Modern society rewards you for being broken. If you have a trauma, if you have a trigger, if you have a sob story, you get attention, you get sympathy, you get the ultimate social currency of our time, an excuse to fail. And as you start to really look at the people around you, you might begin to notice a deep, sickening pattern. They are constantly competing to see who is the most oppressed, who has the most anxiety, who has been wronged the worst. They wear their fragility like a badge of honor. But the Stoics knew something the modern world desperately wants to hide. Sympathy is a drug, and it keeps you weak. Every time you complain, you are training your brain to look for threats. Every time you vent about how unfair life is, you are actively eroding your own spine. Epictetus, a man who was literally born a slave, whose leg was deliberately broken by his master, said this: "It is not events that disturb people, but their judgments about them." Read that again. The event itself is completely neutral. The email is just pixels on a screen. The insult is just sound waves vibrating in the air. The traffic is just metal boxes on asphalt. They have absolutely no inherent power to hurt you. The pain only begins the exact microsecond you agree with the insult. The suffering only starts when you judge the traffic as a personal attack against your time. You are cutting yourself with their blade. When a manipulator, a narcissist, or a loudmouth attacks you, they are essentially handing you a poisoned apple. They are throwing a psychological punch. But here is the secret of emotional asymmetry. A punch cannot land if there is no surface to hit. If you refuse to catch the apple, the poison remains in their hands. You can either continue to be a puppet on society's strings, reacting to every tug and pull, or you can cut the strings entirely. But you cannot stay where you are, because now that you see the game, playing it is a choice.
Marcus Aurelius didn't survive the chaos of his life by being positive. Positive thinking is a fragile illusion that shatters the moment reality punches you in the mouth. Marcus survived through the architecture of the Inner Citadel. This is the core of Dark Stoicism. The Inner Citadel is a psychological fortress constructed deep within the prefrontal cortex. It is a place of absolute, terrifying silence. No matter what is happening outside, whether the empire is burning, whether the plague is spreading, whether your reputation is being destroyed by liars, the citadel remains untouched. Imagine it. You are standing on the high walls of a massive, dark iron fortress. Down below, at the base of the walls, is a mob. They are screaming, they are throwing stones, they are hurling insults. They are desperate for you to look down, to scream back, to validate their existence. But you are 100 feet in the air. The stones they throw don't even reach the halfway mark. They fall back down and hit them on the head. You don't feel anger toward the mob. You don't feel the need to explain yourself. You just look down at them with cold, clinical indifference. You watch them exhaust themselves against your walls. This is what Marcus Aurelius meant when he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He understood that trying to control the external world is a fool's errand. You cannot control the economy. You cannot control the loyalty of your friends. You cannot control the opinions of strangers. If your happiness depends on these things going right, you are playing Russian roulette with your sanity. The quiet man, the shadow stoic, flips the board. He completely withdraws his emotional investments from the external world and places them 100% inside the citadel. If someone insults him, it doesn't matter because his self-worth is guarded behind iron gates. If he loses his wealth, it doesn't matter because his character remains fully intact. He strips the outside world of its leverage. And when you internalize this truth, you become incredibly dangerous to manipulators. A manipulator survives by finding your emotional buttons and pressing them. But what happens when they press the button and the wire has been cut? What happens when they throw their heaviest insult and it hits a blank, unblinking wall? They panic. Their algorithm breaks. Because a man who cannot be triggered is a man who cannot be controlled. To build the Inner Citadel,
You must actively reprogram your neurobiology. You must stop being a reactor and start being an observer. Here is the protocol of the fortress. 4 uncompromising rules to harden your mind. Rule 1. The tactical disconnect. The next time a crisis hits or someone tries to provoke you, your brain will instinctively flood your body with cortisol. You will feel the urge to snap back, to defend yourself, to fix it instantly. Deny that urge. You must create a gap between the stimulus and your response. When insulted, look at the person for 3 full seconds in absolute silence. Do not scowl, do not smile. Just look at them as if you are observing a bizarre species of insect. In those 3 seconds, you sever the emotional nerve. You shift the power dynamic completely. You let their words hang dead in the air, forcing them to choke on their own toxicity. Rule 2. The apathy filter. Stop treating every problem like it deserves your energy. Your attention is the most valuable currency on earth. Stop giving it out to beggars. Marcus Aurelius used a technique called physical deconstruction. When facing a crisis, break it down to its rawest, most boring elements. That incredibly intimidating boss screaming at you? He is just a bag of flesh, water, and bone, making loud noises with his vocal cords because he is terrified of his own superiors. That luxury car you're jealous of? It's just a depreciating hunk of steel and plastic. When you strip away the emotional narrative, the threat disappears. Rule 3. The 24-hour death perspective. Memento mori. Remember that you will die. But do not use this as a morbid thought. Use it as a weapon of perspective. When you are agonizing over a mistake or furious about a perceived disrespect, ask yourself, if a doctor told me I had 24 hours left to live, would I give a single damn about this? The answer is always no. 99% of the things that drain your energy are entirely meaningless in the grand scope of your life. Let the dead bury the dead. Drop the mental baggage and walk away. Rule 4. Amorphity, weaponized endurance. This is the highest level of Dark Stoicism. You do not just tolerate adversity. You do not just survive it. You actively, aggressively consume it. Amorphity means a love of fate. When a disaster strikes, when someone betrays you, when everything falls apart, you do not ask, why is this happening to me? You say, good, feed me the chaos. You view every obstacle as high-resistance training for your mind. A fire doesn't complain about the wood it is fed. A blazing fire consumes everything thrown into it and uses it to burn brighter. Weaponize your pain. Turn their disrespect into your discipline.
As you sit there, right now, listening to the rhythm of my words, perhaps noticing the slight shifts in your breathing, or the weight of your body against the chair, you can feel a profound shift happening deep inside your architecture. It is exhausting, isn't it? Carrying the weight of the world's opinions, caring so much about things that don't matter. But you don't have to carry it anymore. You can just drop it. And as you let go of that weight, you might begin to notice a new sensation taking its place. A feeling of cold, heavy, unbreakable stone forming in the very center of your chest. This is your citadel. I don't know exactly when it will happen. Maybe it will be tomorrow morning. Maybe it will be later today. But someone is going to try to test you. Someone is going to bring their chaos, their noise, their disrespect into your atmosphere. And in the past, you would have reacted. You would have bled. But not this time. This time, the exact moment they raise their voice, or the exact moment the stressful email arrives, it will act as an anchor. Their noise will be the exact trigger that instantly drops you into a state of absolute, terrifying stillness. Before your brain even registers the anger,
You will hear the massive, heavy iron doors of your inner citadel slamming shut. Boom. You will look out from your high walls. You will see their desperation. You will see their frantic, weak attempts to pull you down. And you will feel nothing but cold, sharp clarity. You won't have to try to be strong. Trying implies the possibility of failure. You will simply exist as the stone in the storm. Because a part of you already knows that you are no longer playing their game. You have opted out. You are untouchable. The louder they get, the quieter you become. The harder they push, the more dense your gravity grows. You absorb their chaos, and you give them absolutely nothing back. Just a blank, unreadable mirror, reflecting their own ugliness right back into their eyes. You are the emperor of your own mind, and your borders are permanently closed to the weak.
This is the path of the shadow. It is not for everyone. The masses will continue to run frantically in the mud, crying over every scrape, begging the world to be softer. They will continue to live as slaves to their own emotions. But you have tasted the iron of the Roman discipline. The world is going to try to break you. It is going to throw betrayal, failure, and chaos at your gates. That is not a probability. It is a guarantee. Let them try. Let the storms come. Let the manipulators play their cheap games, because they don't know who they are dealing with anymore. They are throwing pebbles at a fortress. You have the tools. You have the psychology. You have the blueprint of the Citadel. If you are ready to stop being a casualty of modern fragility, if you are ready to forge an empire in the quiet, then you know exactly where you belong. Subscribe to the silence. Join the architecture of influence. And remember, a king does not step off his throne to negotiate with the dirt. Stay in the shadow.